In this video, I'm going to talk about the only 4 ways you can market your coaching business. There's so much confusion in the coaching industry. If you've been poking around for a while, I know you see this. People don't know exactly what to do or how to do it or when to do it or why to do it. And it's way too overwhelming. So I want to break this down and make it simple for you. There are only 4 lanes that you can follow. Now, this is critical if you're starting your coaching business, but it'll be really helpful if you're wanting to launch to another level in your business as well. Now, if you don't get this information simplified and you stay on this highway of confusion that most coaches stay on, and that's actually where most of them crash and burn and end up quitting their business, then you'll never really have enough specificity to fully commit to your coaching business. And listen, your prospects are never going to be attracted to you with ambiguity. They need to know that you know exactly what you're doing, and that requires simplicity. Now, make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to give you this secret strategy, especially for new coaches. Most people aren't doing this because they don't know about it or for whatever reason they're just not willing to do it. But I promise you it will really be a valuable way for you to launch your coaching business as well as learn so much that will help you in your marketing. Hey everyone, in this video we're going to talk about the only 4 ways that you can market your coaching business. Obviously, if you have a coaching business or you want to become a coach and you want to make a business of it, you got to know how to market. And there's so much confusion in the marketing world in general, but specifically in the coaching industry because there are no regulations. There's nothing that says your first step is to get this certification, your next step is to do this, your third step is to do this. So there's so much confusion out there in the coaching space about what to do, especially when it comes to marketing. So people are looking out there and all the items on the menu, and there's a ton of them, and so many of them sound really, really good. They sound incredibly tempting to follow. They sound amazingly influential, right? People are really good at selling stuff. And because we don't know exactly what to follow, especially if you don't know who you are and who your niche is and who your seeker is and all the things that are critical to your individual recipe, then everything is going to sound amazing, especially when it comes out of the mouth of somebody who knows how to sell. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but what I'm saying is there's a lot of confusion out there, and I want to simplify it in this video and tell you there's only 4 ways you can do this thing, and all of the details are going to be dependent on who you are and where you're comfortable and where your strengths and weaknesses are and all that kind of stuff. But I want to give you at least a roadmap to follow so that you can find your place in your business, because your coaching business has to be personal. You are a person, you're a human, you're coaching humans, you're marketing to humans, you're selling to humans. So don't commoditize your coaching business. That's one of the big issues that we have in this industry, is that people have commoditized the whole idea of coaching as though it's just a product that you stuff in a box and ship it by Amazon van, or what are those things called, the Jetsons, right? That was a pretty good Jetson sound. I want to say probes. I know they're not probes, whatever they are. You know what they are. But that's not what coaching is. Coaching is personal. So the more you pull personal out of your coaching journey, especially out of your marketing journey, the worse it's going to be. I promise you, the worse it's going to be for your clients, the worse it's going to be for you. And I've got 15 years of doing this, so I'm just telling you what I know to be true. So there's only 4 ways to market your coaching business. I'm really bothered that I can't figure out what those things are called. If you know what they're called, type them in. Just help me out, okay? So that if I know you're going to be on it, then I don't have to hold on to it in my mind. And I'm sure it'll come to me at some point in time. So there's really only 4 ways, right? Let's break this down and keep it super simple. There is online and there is offline. So those are the only 2 dichotomous paths. You're either this or you're this. And for some of you, you should do your whole business offline and don't even worry about online. For some of you, you should do your whole business online and not even worry about offline. So there is no one-size-fits-all right thing to do for everybody. If you're going to do, and of course, most of us are going to do a little bit of both. When it comes to online, there's only 2 ways to do this. There is paid and free. And then when it comes to offline, there is paid and free. Now, there are many more details I'm going to get to in this video, but you got to see that these are really the only 4 things you can do. You can do free online, paid online, free offline, or paid offline. And once you know which one of those paths fits for you, then we can get into the details. But let me give you some of the deeper considerations for you. Jetsons, whatever. So offline. If you're going to do offline, so just so that we're clear, offline is anything that's not on the internet, right? That's in person, out and about in your community, face to face, belly to belly maybe is how we say it. So some of the things you can look at for paid offline ideas. You can rent a booth, like you can go to conference. By the time, or at the time I'm filming this, we're still in the middle of the pandemic, and obviously that's going to open up at some point. So there's not a whole lot of conferences that are available right now, but when they do open up, you can look at booths, and some of those offline conferences have moved to online because of where we're at with the pandemic and what's going on in the world. So some of these offline strategies have some temporary online plays, but what I mean by this is you can go to a conference and pay for a booth. This is actually what blew my business up. Back in 2007, I rented a booth. I ended up paying about $10,000, I think, all said and done. It was like $4 or $5 grand for the booth itself, and I was there for 9 days. I was in San Diego. It was freezing. We were outside. All the vendors were in this outside place, and I paid, I don't know how much in travel expenses and hotel, and I had all kinds of gifts, and I created a bunch of CDs, and I had a big screen TV I think I was giving away. So all said and done, I think I invested about 10 grand. And a lot of people that I said that to thought I was crazy, but I had a vision, and I thought this is a really good place to get in front of a lot of people that were my ideal clients. And I want to say we probably gave away about 800 to 1,000 CDs. I met a bunch of people. I collected a bunch of business cards. And that event in January of 2007 is what exploded the rest of that year. From April, which is the first time that I had a live event based on that January booth, from April to December, we generated about $270,000, $280,000 directly from that booth, right? So I don't know if you would invest 10 to get 270, whether we're talking about dollars or cents or whatever, right? Bubblegum wrappers, that's a good return on investment. So that's what I mean by booth. Obviously, you want to do some research and make sure that there's a pretty good chance that you're going to be in front of your ideal clients and you have a strategy. And the whole purpose of pretty much all marketing is to get people into your playground, to get them into your house, on your platform, on your email list. And you got to have campaigns. You got to, know what to do to nurture them, and you have to have things that you're going to eventually invite them to and sell them. So that's all the back end stuff, and all of that needs to, be considered, obviously, to make sure that the booth that you're going to hire or that you're going to invest in is going to lead to the right kind of people coming into those campaigns. Speaking at those kinds of conferences, or really almost anywhere that you can speak, that's a fantastic strategy, because when you get up in front of the stage and you are the speaker, you're immediately credible, you immediately have authority, you have people's attention, and it's the easiest place in my experience to convert, whether we're talking about actually selling something or get people to sign up on your email list, take them from an audience and then get them somewhere out of that audience onto your playground. Public speaking is the best way to do that in my experience, and almost everybody that I've talked to would say the same thing. You can sponsor these conferences, so even if you don't have a booth, you might have a sponsorship opportunity where you put an ad in like a conference manual, or if they have some sort of pamphlet, or maybe you can put your information on a promotional product and get it into a bag. A lot of these conferences give away gift bags. So if you want to go this route, you can look at sponsorships in many different forms to get your message and to get your brand in front of people. And I put BNI here. There are different kinds of networking companies and networking organizations, not just BNI, but BNI, which stands for Business Network International. If you want to go the paid networking route, this is the one that I would suggest you look into first. So as a coach, you can be in the community of BNI, and the way BNI works is there's only one person per topic or per industry. So like you'd only have one insurance person, you'd only have one coach, you would only have one real estate agent, right? So each position is exclusive to that industry. So you could be the coach that is networking with 10, 20, 30, 50 other people in an environment that meets every week. And the whole point is to pass referrals to each other. BNI isn't all that expensive. The last time I checked, it was a few $100s for a year. And I mean, you get one coaching program out of that, and that easily makes up for the investment. There are other organizations, and I haven't looked into this in a while, so do your research and see what else is available in your local area. Again, once the world is opened up again and you can do some of these offline networking. So those are 4 ideas that I would suggest looking into when you're ready to go to paid. If we look at free things to do offline, you can hold your own seminars. That's another way that I started. Actually, even before that 2007 booth that I rented in 2006, right down the street here, a few miles from me, I hosted my own seminar. Now, I paid for that seminar. I hired some people to work it. I paid for the room, but you don't necessarily have to pay for your seminars. Like you could host, I hear from some people that say they host it at the library, or they host it at certain community centers, or you might host it inside of a business office space that you know of. So there are ways to do this for free, and you just invite people to your seminar, whatever it is. You're going to give a seminar on 7 ways to build stand-up tables, or whatever your content is. Workshops, essentially the same thing, but I did distinguish between the two of them because workshops are usually a little bit deeper. Generally, they're a little bit longer. There might be a day or 2 days and a little bit more implementation, whereas seminars are a little bit more informational. But essentially, those are the same thing. You're asking people to come to you. You're in charge, and you're delivering whatever it is you're going to deliver. Lunch and Learns, that's basically when you go into an organization and they invite their people for a lunch and learn, and you would basically be the guest speaker. And so you could do a 45-minute lunch and learn, let's say, and teach them whatever you want to teach them around your content, and then afterwards have conversations and maybe get them on an email list and what have you. That's been really successful for a lot of people. I probably did a half a dozen or so of those when I was starting out. Local organizations, this is the first thing that I did when I started out. Back then, I looked at the phone book. We don't necessarily have phone books anymore, very, very much at least. You can just jump online and look at the white pages or yellow pages online. And I smiled and dialed. I looked at every organization that I could find that I thought might need speakers. I looked at the Boys and Girls Club, the PTA organizations, the Kiwanis Club, anything that I could find, and I would call them up and I would say, do you guys bring in speakers? And if the answer was yes, then I would ask them, who do I need to talk to potentially come in and speak for your organization? And sometimes you could get hired immediately right on the spot. Hired. Those organizations are usually not going to pay you, but it's important to get your message out, to get some exposure. Some of those people will find you later and potentially hire you, but especially in the beginning, I think this is the best way to get you up in front of crowds and speaking. So I highly, highly suggest this. And then the other thing that you can look into is network marketing businesses. They're everywhere, and they're dying for information. They are craving, they're hungry for information. They want motivation, they want transformation, and all you got to do is look around and you're probably going to find 100 people that are in a network marketing business somewhere. And so I've done these in people's homes. I've gone to more local training events like Super Saturday events, and I've spoken on big stages at the big, huge conventions. Now, those are there's many steps along that journey, so you're probably not going to just jump out to a big stage and get paid a bunch of money just to come in and speak, but there's somebody that would have you on a Zoom call or have you in their local training. There's weekly events that a lot of the network marketing companies do. And again, a lot of these things at the time that I'm recording this might not be available because of the pandemic, but they'll open up again. and look for ways that some of these things are now online and see if you can dive into them. Now, there are other things you can do. I was racking my brain. What are the things that I've done and what have I heard other people do? Most of these things I've done. If there's anything else that you want to add to this, then please do it in the comment section below so that I can learn and everybody that's watching this video can have a little bit of co-creation if there's ideas you have. And of course, any questions that you have about any of this, you can comment below or sign up for a free consultation and we'll help you individually. Now let's go to online. What can you do paid online? Let me say this first before I even go into this. So I'm gonna hide this from you. Be careful before you start paying for anything. A lot of people that are teaching how to build your coaching business are teaching paid ads. They're teaching paid marketing strategies. There's nothing wrong with paid marketing strategies when you're ready. I very, very rarely suggest anybody cut their teeth with paid marketing. Paid marketing is usually not the place for you to learn if you have a viable product that people are interested in and will buy. If you have a budget and your whole idea is just to throw some money out there and get some feedback, cool. That's how traditional businesses are very often built. They do put money in and they don't know if anybody's gonna buy. But in the coaching world, most people don't have that mindset. So you're probably not ready to go to anything paid until you know that you have a product that people will purchase, because the whole point of paid ads is to get a return on your investment, right? And if you don't know that you're going to have something that people will purchase, then it can create a lot of anxiety, especially if you don't have this identified budget that says, I'm going to put $2,500 toward this ad over the next 3 months and see what happens. If every dollar you put out, you're putting out with a string attached to it and hope it comes back, you probably don't have the right energy, nor do you have the amount of certainty that you probably need to go into the paid space. That's for most of you. If you have the mindset, you have the extra cash, then go ahead and throw it out there. The paid online options, social media ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Instagram ads. I don't know if TikTok is doing ads right now. I'm sure they probably are. If not, they will. Any of the social media platforms you can pretty much advertise on, because that's why they build their platforms. They build their platforms so that influencers can create big communities and then sell their communities to advertisers. So there will always be social media ads. Search engine ads, that's where you do an ad like on Google or Yahoo. On Google it's called AdWords, or it used to be called AdWords. I don't know if they might have changed the name recently. I don't know what it's called on Yahoo, but essentially you're putting your ads in front of people that are typing things into the search engine, and your sponsored ads can show up there. I did that really early on as well. In late 2007, I started to do Google AdWords, and my niche was very specific and pretty finite. I was doing ads for the Mary Kay world. A lot of you know my story. I started out not intending to teach in the Mary Kay world, but after several events, I was kind of pulled into that space, and then I started to learn what they needed, and then I pretty much went all in. And so I was running Google ads to attract people that are in Mary Kay, and we were pretty successful on those ads in even a pretty tight niche like that. Website ads, if you've been on virtually any website now, you'll see in between the sections of articles, there are ads that you can click on, and these ads tend to follow you, right? Because I forget what it's called now, but if you like search for something on Google, let's say, you might go read an article on Medium or New York Times or like almost anything online, and the thing that you searched for might have an ad on your website that you're looking at. And like it could be a joke website. I was on a website a few years back, and it was, I wanted to find the best dad jokes, and I saw an ad for a guy that I had been looking into for a marketing program. So they'll follow you online, and they follow you way more nowadays than even back then. So that's what I mean by website ads, is you can basically follow your prospects all along the internet and pretty much all around the world. Partnership emails or banners. If you look into and find people that have big communities and they're sending emails out, sometimes they'll sell email opportunities. I've done that a few times where I paid $1,000 or $1,200, and had an email go out to a community of 50,000 or 100,000 or 200,000 people. And I wrote the email and I sent it to this community, and for $1,200, I mean, essentially is an ad, but it's an ad in an email. And some people are still running newsletters, and you can place banners on the newsletters, or banners even on some people's smaller websites, not like the big Yahoos and those big things like I was just talking about, but some private sites that advertise to their clients. Sometimes you can get banners on there. And then SEO, search engine optimization. You can pay companies to come in and optimize your website, assuming that you've got a website built and the website itself is optimized. Then you might want to get paid people on your traffic strategy to get more and more traffic to your website. These are the 5 main things. Again, if you have anything else that you'd want to add to it, then let me know. And then free online. This is where the opportunity is massive. There are essentially 3 things that you can market, or 3 ways you can market your content online. You can market written content, audio content, or video content. I'm going to start out with the middle one because that's the one in my experience that has the least amount of opportunity other than podcasts. So podcasts is a way to market your audios, and you get it up on Spotify, or you get it on iTunes, and you are consistent with your podcast. I know you all, I believe, know about the podcast world. Outside of the podcast world, there's not a whole lot that you can do with audios. You can post them on social media. We do a lot with audios, although we put some videos or some visuals around it, but we market like 15-second chunks or minute-long chunks and get the audios out there where people can hear the audios or read the transcript of the audios, the closed caption inside of it. But the opportunity for audio, at least in my experience and what I've done and understand now, is not huge. Podcast, yes, but everything else, not as much. Written content, though, I mean, the entire internet is flooded with written content. So you write blog articles, and you can create your own blog, or you can write articles and submit them to, there are thousands of sites that are collecting other people's articles that are, what's the word? They're not collating, they're not coagulating. That's a little bit different. I don't know what that is. Whatever it is. So you can get your article submitted to all kinds of other sites that are collecting blog articles from like sometimes thousands of different authors. And if you get one of your blogs up on those sites, they could have massive exposure that then drives people back to a free download or back to your website or what have you. So as with just about all marketing, you want to make sure that you're finding the avenues that are going to make sense for you to put the time in. A lot of these sites, I would say the majority of them, don't require any kind of investment on your part. Your investment is going to be your time and the creation of good content. And that's going to require some consistency for you to kind of figure that out. So once you have written stuff, there are a bunch of places on the internet that you can put it. And then the third one is video. Here we are. You're probably watching this on YouTube is where I would guess. If you're not watching on YouTube, it's embedded in somewhere, but it'll start on YouTube. And this, to me, is the way to go for any of you that have the guts to do video or to learn how to do video. This is the way to go because you've got all the senses. You've obviously got visuals. You've got the audio. You've got a much bigger canvas to use, so to speak, in terms of everything, in terms of background, in terms of flip charts, and I do chalkboard videos and camera videos like this and slideshow videos and all kinds of stuff. There's a lot more that you can do visually. So the video world is, I think, where our society is almost demanding you be. I say almost because we're still reading articles and we're still listening to audios. So this isn't exclusively the only place to be. But this is where so many people are consuming their content and they want more and more videos. So it's the best place for you to be distinct as well as far as, or also it's the best way for you to create trust, right? If people can see you, they get the full-bodied experience of your teaching. they're going to trust you more, and they're going to know if you're not the one for them. And that's totally fine too. So they can opt themselves out. So those are the specifics to look into those 4 ways. And the last thing I want to share with you is the secret strategy. So the secret strategy is something that I've been calling seeker interviews. Your seeker is the person that's out there right now seeking the knowledge that you have in your head. And if you think about who's already seeking knowledge from you, my experience is it's easier for you to be inspired to get in front of the person already seeking you than to chase people down that you want to sell to or the stuff that you want to teach. So conceptually, if you think of who's your seeker, it'll help you get in front of them. But if you know who your seeker is, that's one thing. What's really valuable, and I think is the most valuable asset of your business, is not just who your seeker is, but what's in their mind. Your seeker's perspective is the most valuable thing you have in your business. If you know what they're searching for, if you know what they trust, if you know what they don't trust, if you know what they purchase, if you know who they've been taken advantage of before, if you know what they would write a blank check for, if you know what they stay up at night thinking about, then you can design all of your packages and programs according to their perspective. That's why their perspective is so critical. And the best way to get into their head is to do these seeker interviews. Literally, you get on the phone with people and you ask for 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes of their time, and you can ask if they're willing to answer some questions for you because you're just doing some market research or you're just starting a coaching business and you would love to have their support. And you get on the phone, you get on Zoom, whatever the connection looks like, and you just ask a bunch of questions. So we actually have a free download. We'll put it in the description where you can get the list of the seeker interview questions that I suggest you use. And we've had a lot of people that go through those seeker interviews, and you're not even trying to sell anything to people. This is really just market research, but the philosophy is if I ask you questions about how you could be helped in some area of your life, I mean, wouldn't it make sense for you to ask me to then turn around and help you? So a lot of people have backed into coaching clients just by doing these seeker interview questions. But even if you don't get direct coaching clients from it, you're going to get a lot of marketing intel because you're getting into the head of your seeker. So there are 3 main approaches here, or 3 main phases, like stages to doing this. The first one is contribution. So you want to go where your seekers are. If you're going to go online, you want to join a lot of the online communities and then just contribute to the communities. Answer questions, ask questions, foster and facilitate conversation so that you become a contributor to this community. And then what you want to do is get people in conversations. So when you're facilitating a discussion in any of these groups, let's say, and or when those group discussions turn into private DM messages, M already stands for message, direct messages, when it turns into a one-on-one conversation, that's when you can say, hey, why don't we just jump on the phone? Or you can say, you know what, you really fit the profile of the person that I'm trying to build a business around. Would you be willing to support me in answering some questions? And a lot of people will say yes. Not everybody's going to say yes, but a lot of people are going to say yes because people actually want to help and support you, especially if they see you as a contributor and not just a shark that's going to take something from them. And then the final one is conversions. So how can you convert these conversations to them being on your email list or potentially them being a coaching client, etc. So this is the number one strategy that I teach and that I've seen that works across the board more than any other strategy, because you're just getting people on the phone and you're genuinely asking them about their opinions and trying to understand their perspective. From that point, you will either get coaching clients directly from those calls because they'll ask you. I've had so many people say, my seeker interviews are asking me if they could hire me, but I don't have a coaching package, so what should I charge them? That's a really powerful position to be in is somebody asks you to if they could hire you and you didn't even put yourself on the menu yet. But that happens sometimes, although I don't want that to be the reason you do these interviews. If you don't get directly hired from them, the more important reason and the main reason you're doing these interviews is because you're going to get their perspective that you can then use to build all of your free content, all the stuff that we talked about. You're going to be able to use that information to design coaching packages, pricing, titles, I mean, everything if you get into the mind of your seeker. So that's what I suggest you do with these seeker interviews. Whew, that was a lot. I feel like I haven't breathed for a long time, but hopefully there's something in here that you can start to explore. All the details are individual. All the details are individual. I do not believe in, nor do I ever teach, any one-size-fits-all approach that I guarantee is going to work for everybody selling everything at every price to everybody. And if you hear those guarantees being made, my advice to you is run away, because it doesn't exist. There's no such thing, and that tells me somebody's just trying to scam you. If you want support, then go ahead and click the link down below in the description and get on a free consultation call so that we can help you understand where your seeker is maybe, or really anything about the coaching process. Or if you just want help personally, right? One of the biggest things for coaches is the inner game. And if you get a sense that you have a fear of visibility, that's why you're not getting in front of the camera, or you don't know if your content is good, or you just don't know if you have what it takes to be a coach. If any of that is true for you individually, then jump on the phone with us and we do free consultations, and we'll help you identify what the next step is, whether it's with our company or if we make a suggestion of this is where you need to look and this is where you need to go and this is what your next step is, then we do that literally like all day long in our company. So hope this has been valuable. If you have any questions whatsoever, please let me know. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you like this and you want more information, and click the little bell to get notifications and all the things, and we'll support you however we can. Bird, bird, bird. Bird is the word. See my profile here if you want. All right, where I talk about the best digital marketing sales campaigns. Sales campaigns? Funnels. Funnels is the word. Now, if you like this video, check out that video where I show you how to create the best digital marketing, the coaching train wreck on the highway of confusion. Man, that was clunk. I didn't like the way that ended. Everybody, this video we're going to talk about. Now, if you like this video, check out that video where I teach you how to build the best digital marketing sales funnels, especially for service-based businesses. Coaching is a different kind of product. Our prospects need to experience us a little bit different. So for coaches, I want to give you a concept to remind you the energy with which you want to build this funnel.